There are no coincidences in life when you walk with God. Every moment, every step, every situation, both the good and the bad, has been carefully woven into the grand design of His purpose for you. It may not always make sense, and at times you may feel like you're wandering aimlessly, but God is never uncertain about where He's taking you. Before you were even born, He had a blueprint for your life, a divine strategy that considers every choice, every mistake, and every obstacle. His plan accounts for your strengths and weaknesses, your highs and your lows, ensuring that nothing is wasted. Even when you feel lost, God knows exactly where you are. Sometimes life presents challenges that seem unfair or even cruel, and you may question why God allows you to endure certain struggles. But what if those very struggles are a necessary part of His plan? What if the closed doors and setbacks are not meant to break you, but to build you? The pain you experience is not random, it's a refining process. Just as gold is purified in fire, your faith, patience, and character are strengthened through adversity. Every challenge has a purpose, and every trial is an opportunity for growth. The moments of struggle are not signs that God has abandoned you. They are proof that He is actively shaping you for something greater. God sees the full picture, while you only see a small piece of it. You may think you're being delayed, but in reality, you are being positioned. You may believe you've taken a wrong turn, but in truth, God is redirecting you. What looks like a detour is often a divine setup. He allows certain doors to close because He knows what's behind them. He removes people from your life because He sees what you cannot. When you trust in His plan, you realize that nothing happens by chance. Every season you go through serves a purpose, even the ones that feel like setbacks. It's easy to trust God when things are going smoothly, but true faith is tested in uncertainty. There will be times when you feel stuck, when nothing seems to be moving forward, and doubt begins to creep in. In those moments, you must remind yourself that God's timing is perfect. Just because you don't see immediate results doesn't mean He's not working behind the scenes. Sometimes God's silence is not a sign of inaction, but a test of your patience and faith. He is orchestrating things in ways you can't comprehend, aligning the right opportunities, people, and circumstances to come together at the appointed time. Every step you take has already been ordered, and even the mistakes you've made cannot derail God's plan for your life. He has factored in your missteps, your weaknesses, and your failures. Nothing you've done or failed to do has caught Him by surprise. That's the beauty of His grace. He takes even the broken pieces and turns them into something meaningful. You may think you've ruined your chances, but God's plan is bigger than your mistake. His purpose for you remains intact, no matter what detours you've taken. He can restore what was lost and redirect you toward the destiny He designed for you. There are moments when you'll feel like giving up because things aren't happening fast enough or the journey feels too difficult. But just because you don't see progress doesn't mean God isn't moving. Seeds take time to grow before they break through the soil. The process is unseen, but the results will be undeniable. Your waiting season is not wasted time, it's preparation for what's coming. If God allowed you to walk into your purpose too soon, you might not be ready for it. He is strengthening you, refining you, and ensuring that when your time comes, you will not only step into your blessing, but sustain it. Obedience is a key part of walking in God's plan. Sometimes, He will ask you to move without understanding why. He may prompt you to let go of things that feel comfortable, to step into situations that seem uncertain, or to take a path that doesn't make logical sense. But faith is not about having all the answers, it's about trusting the one who does. When God orders your steps, He doesn't always give you a detailed map. Instead, He provides just enough light for the next step. Your job is to walk in faith, to follow His guidance even when you don't have all the details, and to trust that He knows exactly where He's leading you. Many people miss out on the fullness of God's plan because they try to take control of their own lives. They grow impatient and start making decisions based on their own understanding instead of waiting for God's direction. But human wisdom is limited. It cannot compare to the wisdom of the one who created the universe. When you surrender to his plan, you position yourself for something far greater than you could ever achieve on your own. What God has for you is bigger than your imagination, and his ways are higher than yours. Trust the process, embrace the journey, and know that every step is leading you exactly where you're meant to be. Nothing great is ever built overnight. Before you can step into the fullness of your purpose, there is a season of preparation that must take place. This season is often uncomfortable, filled with challenges, delays, and moments of uncertainty. But it is necessary. Too many people want the reward without the refinement, the blessing without the burden, the elevation without the endurance. But God does not promote prematurely. He will never place you in a position that your character is not yet ready to sustain. What you are going through right now is not meant to destroy you. It is meant to develop you. The growth requires pressure. Just like a seed planted in the soil, you must first be buried before you can rise. The darkness, the isolation, and the waiting period are all part of the process. It may feel like nothing is happening, but in reality, everything is happening beneath the surface. God is strengthening your foundation, teaching you patience, and molding you into the person who can carry the weight of the blessing he has in store for you. The deeper the roots, the stronger the tree. Without this preparation, elevation would only lead to destruction. There are lessons that can only be learned in the waiting season. When things aren't moving as fast as you want them to, it's easy to get frustrated and question whether you are on the right path. But this season is where your faith is tested. It's where you learn to trust God even when you don't see immediate results. It's where you develop the discipline, the resilience, and the wisdom needed for the next level. Every great leader, every successful person, every individual who has walked into their calling had to endure a period of unseen preparation before they could step into their purpose. If God gave you everything you asked for right now, would you truly be ready for it? Would you have the maturity to handle it, the humility to sustain it, the strength to carry it? Many people pray for elevation, but are not willing to endure the preparation. They want the platform, but not the process, the crown, but not the cross. But shortcuts lead to setbacks, and anything obtained too soon can be lost just as quickly. God's timing is perfect, and when he knows you are ready, nothing will be able to stop the doors he opens for you. This preparation season also reveals your true motives. Do you desire success for the right reasons? Are you pursuing purpose or just personal gain? God will strip away anything that is built on the wrong foundation. He will test your heart, refine your desires, and ensure that when he does elevate you, your character will not crumble under the pressure. Many people have fallen, not because they weren't talented, but because they weren't prepared. Talent may open doors, but only character can keep them open. There will be moments when you feel overlooked, when it seems like everyone else is advancing while you remain stuck. But just because you are hidden does not mean you are forgotten. God is working on you in private before he presents you in public. David was anointed as king long before he ever sat on the throne. Joseph had a dream long before he ever stepped into the palace. Jesus himself spent years in preparation before stepping into his ministry. The waiting period is never wasted. It is where greatness is formed. Sometimes God will allow discomfort to push you into your next season. He will close doors, remove people, and place obstacles in your path, not to hinder you, but to position you. What feels like a setback is actually a setup. You may not understand it now, but every trial, every hardship, every delay is playing a role in shaping you into the person you are meant to become. The greater the calling, the greater the preparation. Embrace this season. Stop resisting the process and start recognizing its purpose. The pain, the challenges, the long nights of wondering when things will change. They are all working together for your good. You are being prepared for something greater than you can imagine. The question is, will you trust the process or will you fight against it? Because whether you realize it or not, you are being shaped for something far bigger than yourself. There are moments in life when you feel certain about the path you are on, only to have everything suddenly shift. A door you prayed for remains locked. An opportunity you worked for slips through your fingers. A relationship you invested in crumbles before your eyes. It's in these moments that frustration sets in, and you begin to wonder why things didn't go as planned. But what if that closed door was not rejection, but protection? What if the very thing you were chasing was never meant for you in the first place? God sees what you cannot. He knows what's on the other side of every decision, and when He redirects you, it's never to harm you. It's to shield you from something that could have destroyed you. There are things you think you need, paths you believe will bring you fulfillment, but not everything that looks good is good for you. Some opportunities come dressed as blessings but are actually burdens. Some relationships appear promising but are distractions in disguise. If God allowed you to have everything you wanted, you might end up with something that would ultimately hurt you. So He blocks it. He moves you in a different direction. He allows discomfort not to punish you, but to prevent you from settling for less than what He has planned. His redirection is not rejection, it's divine intervention. It's easy to question God's plan when you don't understand why things are happening the way they are. You may feel like you're being held back while others are moving forward. You may feel like you're stuck, unable to make sense of the obstacles in your way. But what if the delay is actually a detour to something greater? God is not just concerned with giving you what you want, He is committed to leading you toward what you truly need. And sometimes that means taking you down a road you never expected to travel. You won't always recognize protection in the moment. Sometimes it looks like heartbreak. Sometimes it looks like failure. Sometimes it looks like being forced out of a place you were comfortable in. But if you could see what God sees, you would understand that He is moving you away from something that could have harmed your future. The people who walked away, the job that didn't work out, the plans that fell apart. What if those things weren't meant to be a part of your destiny? What if God was clearing the way for something better? Every redirection in your life has a purpose. When things don't go as planned, it's not because God is ignoring you, it's because He's guiding you. You may think you're losing, but in reality, you're being positioned for something far greater. The things you thought were setbacks are actually setups. The losses you grieve over were necessary separations. God is not taking away what you need. He is removing what is standing in the way of what He has prepared for you. The discomfort of redirection often leads to the greatest breakthroughs. Think about the times in your life when you faced unexpected detours. Maybe you lost a job, only to later find an opportunity that was far better suited for you. Maybe you had a plan for your future, only to realize that what God had in store was beyond anything you could have imagined. If He hadn't redirected you, you would have settled for something far beneath what He had planned. What feels like a disappointment today may be the very thing that saves you tomorrow. It takes faith to trust God's redirection. It takes surrender to release control and allow Him to lead. But when you do, you begin to realize that His plans are always higher, His ways are always greater, and His protection is always present. He is not moving you away from something to hurt you. He is moving you towards something that will fulfill His purpose for your life. Even when you don't understand it, even when it feels unfair, even when it doesn't make sense, trust that God's redirection is always for your good. One day you will look back and realize why things had to happen the way they did. You will see the doors that closed were never meant to be your destination. You will understand that the painful moments were actually blessings in disguise. What you once saw as rejection, you will recognize as God's hand guiding you to something far greater. The things you once mourned, you will later thank Him for, because every step, every detour, every shift in direction was leading you to exactly where you were meant to be. Faith is not just believing when things are going well. Faith is trusting even when you have no idea how things will work out. It is standing firm when everything around you seems uncertain, when the answers don't come easily, and when the path ahead looks unclear. Faith is required when doors don't open the way you expected, when life takes unexpected turns, and when you are forced to walk through seasons of difficulty. It is in these moments that faith is tested, not when everything is comfortable, but when everything feels like it's falling apart. Faith is believing in what you cannot see, holding on to hope, even when your situation tells you to give up, and knowing that God is still in control, no matter how chaotic life may seem. There will be times when faith is the only thing you have to stand on. No explanations, no clear signs, just the quiet conviction in your heart that God is still working. Faith is not based on what you feel. Feelings change, but faith remains. Feelings will tell you to quit, to walk away, to doubt, but faith tells you to press forward even when you don't see the results yet. It is in the moments when everything seems still, when it feels like nothing is happening, that faith matters most. Because faith is not about immediate outcomes. It is about trusting in the process, trusting in the timing, and trusting that what is meant for you will come to pass. Faith requires patience. It requires a willingness to wait when you want to move, to hold on when you want to let go. God's promises don't always come instantly, but they always come at the right time. The waiting period is where faith is built, where trust is strengthened, and where endurance is developed. Without faith, it is easy to grow discouraged, to feel like the struggle is pointless, and to wonder if things will ever change. But faith says that even in the silence, God is still speaking. Even in the delay, God is still working. Even in the struggle, God is still leading. Faith does not mean the road will always be easy. There will be trials, challenges, and obstacles that make you question if you're on the right path. But faith is not about avoiding struggles. It is about walking through them with confidence, knowing that they are shaping you into the person you were meant to become. Every great testimony comes from a test, and every victory requires a battle. Faith does not eliminate the fight, it strengthens you for it. It gives you the courage to keep going when quitting seems like the easiest option. It reminds you that God has already gone before you, preparing the way, making a path where there seems to be none. Doubt is the enemy of faith. The moment you allow doubt to take root, fear begins to grow. Doubt tells you that things will never change, that you're not good enough, that God has forgotten about you. But faith silences doubt. It stands in the face of fear and says, I trust God even when I don't understand. Faith is not about having all the answers. It is about believing that God does. It is about surrendering your plans, your fears, and your uncertainties, and trusting that He is working all things together for your good. Faith requires action. It is not just believing, it is moving forward even when you are unsure of the outcome. It is stepping out when God calls you, even when you don't have all the details. It is trusting that if God brought you to it, He will bring you through it. Too often people wait for everything to make sense before they act, but faith does not operate on certainty, it operates on trust. Sometimes you have to take the step before you see the way. Sometimes you have to walk forward even when the destination is unknown. Faith is what allows you to move, to take risks, and to follow God's plan even when it feels uncomfortable. Faith is a choice. It is choosing to believe when doubt whispers otherwise. It is choosing to trust when everything says you shouldn't. It is choosing to stand firm when the storm is raging. Faith is not based on what you see, it is based on what you know, that God is faithful, that He has never failed you, and that He never will. The journey of faith is not about having all the answers, it is about believing that the one who holds the answers is guiding your step. It is about walking in confidence, even in the unknown, because you trust the one who is leading you. Faith is the foundation of everything. Without it, fear takes over, doubt controls decisions, and life feels uncertain. But when you choose faith, you choose strength. You choose to walk with confidence, knowing that every challenge is shaping you, every delay has a purpose, and every step is ordered by God. Faith is not about waiting for the perfect moment. It is about trusting that every moment, no matter how difficult, is leading you closer to where you are meant to be. Obstacles have a way of making you question everything: your path, your abilities, and even your faith. When challenges arise, it is easy to see them as barriers, as forces working against you, trying to keep you from what you desire. But what if those very obstacles were not placed in your way to stop you, but to prepare you? What if the struggles you face are not roadblocks, but stepping stones? The challenges that come your way are not meant to break you, they are meant to build you. Every great achievement, every significant breakthrough comes after a battle. The struggle is not a sign to turn back, it is proof that you are on the right path. The greatest growth happens in the face of resistance. Just as muscles grow when they are challenged by weight, your character, your strength, and your faith develop when you are tested by life's difficulties. If everything came easy, there would be no reason to grow, no need to stretch beyond your comfort zone. It is in the struggle that you become stronger. It is in the hardship that you discover what you are truly made of. Every obstacle forces you to dig deeper, to tap into the strength within you, and to trust in something greater than yourself. There are things you can only learn through adversity. Wisdom is not gained in comfort. It is shaped through experiences that test your patience, your perseverance, and your ability to rise above. When you are faced with a challenge, you are also faced with a choice. You can allow it to defeat you, or you can use it to push yourself forward. The people who achieve great things in life are not those who never encountered obstacles, but those who refused to let obstacles define them. They saw challenges as opportunities to grow, to learn, and to become better than they were before. Every obstacle contains a lesson. When things don't go your way, instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" start asking, "What is this trying to teach me?" There is always something to gain from difficulty. Maybe it is patience, maybe it is resilience, maybe it is the realization that you are stronger than you ever imagined. Sometimes, what looks like a setback is actually positioning you for something greater. The job you didn't get, the opportunity that fell through, the relationship that didn't work out. What if those things were never meant for you? What if God was redirecting you to something far greater than what you originally planned? Obstacles force you to become resourceful. They push you to think differently, to find new ways to overcome, to stretch beyond what you thought was possible. When you are faced with difficulty, you are also faced with the opportunity to adapt, to grow, and to rise above. The people who succeed in life are not those who never faced hardship, but those who refuse to let hardship stop them. They saw failure as a lesson, disappointment as redirection, and obstacles as opportunities to prove that they were capable of more. You will never know your true strength until you are tested. Diamonds are formed under pressure, gold is refined by fire, and strong people are shaped by challenges. If you never had to struggle, you would never know the power within you. The very thing that seems to be working against you may actually be working for you. It is shaping you, preparing you, and equipping you for what lies ahead. There are lessons you will only learn through hardship, and there is strength you will only find by pushing through the tough times. Obstacles teach you to rely on faith. When everything is going well, it is easy to trust the process, to feel confident in your direction. But when difficulty arises, when the way forward is unclear, that is when true faith is required. Trusting in something greater than yourself means believing that even in the struggle, there is a purpose. It means knowing that every delay, every challenge, and every detour is not meant to stop you, but to prepare you. Faith is understanding that even when you don't see the full picture, you are still being led to where you are meant to be. The difficulties you face today are shaping the person you are becoming. Every challenge, every setback, every unexpected turn is adding to your story, preparing you for the next level of your life. Growth does not happen in ease. It happens in the moments when you are pushed beyond what you thought was possible. What you see as an obstacle today may one day be the very thing that made you stronger, wiser, and more prepared for what is to come. Faith without action is incomplete. Believing is the first step, but if belief is not followed by movement, then it remains just an idea. Taking action in faith means stepping forward even when you don't have all the answers. It means walking toward the unknown with confidence, trusting that each step will be guided. Too often, people wait for the perfect moment, the perfect sign, or the perfect circumstances before making a move. But faith requires you to act before you see the full picture. You may not know how everything will unfold, but you must trust that every step you take is leading you towards something greater. Hesitation is the enemy of progress. The longer you wait, the more doubt creeps in, and the more fear takes hold. It is easy to stay in a place of comfort, to remain where things are familiar, but faith demands movement. It requires you to step out of your comfort zone, to embrace uncertainty, and to move forward even when things are unclear. The people who achieve great things in life are not those who waited until they had all the answers. They are the ones who took bold steps, even when they were uncertain. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is acting in spite of fear. Taking action in faith means making decisions based on trust rather than fear. It means moving forward even when doubt whispers in your ear, even when obstacles stand in your way. Fear will always try to convince you to stay still, to play it safe, to wait until everything is certain. But faith requires risk. It asks you to trust that what is ahead is greater than what you are leaving behind. Every great story of success is a story of faith in action. Those who have achieved remarkable things did not always have the clearest path, but they had the courage to take the first step. The difference between those who fulfill their purpose and those who remain stagnant is the willingness to act. You cannot pray for change and then refuse to move. You cannot hope for a breakthrough while staying in the same place. Faith requires work, effort, and a willingness to step forward even when the path is uncertain. Action activates faith. It is one thing to say you believe, but real faith is demonstrated in movement. When you take that first step, doors begin to open. When you make that decision, opportunities arise. When you trust enough to act, things start falling into place. It may not happen all at once, and the journey may not be easy, but each step forward is a declaration of trust. You may not see immediate results, but every action you take in faith is planting seeds for what is to come. There will be moments when doubt creeps in, when you question if you are on the right path. That is when faith is truly tested. Faith is not just believing when things are going well. It is believing even when there is no visible sign of progress. It is trusting that even the delays, the struggles, and the setbacks are part of the process. Taking action in faith means continuing to move forward even when you don't see immediate results. It means holding on to the vision even when the journey gets tough. Faith is about persistence. It is about continuing to push forward even when things don't go as planned. Too many people give up just before their breakthrough. They stop moving because they don't see results fast enough. But faith demands endurance. It requires you to keep going, even when the path is unclear. There will be moments when you feel like quitting, when the challenges seem too great. But if you trust in the process and keep taking action, you will eventually see the fruits of your faith. The greatest victories come to those who refuse to stay still. It is not enough to hope. to dream, or to wish for something greater, you must be willing to act. You must be willing to take the first step, to keep moving even when things are uncertain. Faith is not passive, it is active. It is a commitment to trust, to believe, and to take bold action even in the face of uncertainty.